Good morning. You listen to FortAiley.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning, my guest is Arthur Clarke, the Director of Sustainability with HMTX. Arthur, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Kemp. How are you?
I'm good. You're up at the GreenBuild meeting being held in Philadelphia, and I wanted to give our listeners a quick review of that show. Before we get to that, Art, let's talk a little bit about, I said which HMTX, which is the brand that was launched 4 or 5 years ago, and it's an acronym for Halstead, Metroflor, Technoflor, and Aspecta. It's Harlan Stone's company that is a major player in the flooring business. And you go every year. Actually, last year I interviewed Rochelle Routman at this event, and you've been going several years as well. How's attendance this year?
I would say attendance is pretty steady from last year. It might be up slightly. Typically, there's a drop-off on day two, but not as much of a drop-off this year. Definitely, I would say a higher beat of energy from last year, more nuanced conversations, and a lot more interest in alternative products.
For those people that aren't familiar with GreenBuild, it's a show that actually got started by the USGBC, the U.S. Green Building Council, and several years ago, they sold the trade show part of it to Informa, but continue to have both a trade show and an educational type seminar that runs concurrently. Who's attending the show? Who have you run into that comes to the trade show this year?
So far, it's been pretty much the same mix as the last few years, primarily architects, designers, some engineers, and others in the construction industry. I have seen a noticeable increase this year in young students that have attended. Quite a few high schoolers came through yesterday and stopped by the booth. There was even one young gentleman, if I had to guess, maybe a junior or senior in high school, who stopped by to talk about our flooring options, especially the sustainability options that we have. Talking to him about our new SRP flooring, which is a floating floor made from thermoplastic polyurethane, explaining the floating floor technology to him, and he kind of cheekily replied that he's already, in the construction industry and so knows quite a bit about floating floors, which I found was pretty remarkable for someone of his age. We also had someone from a local community college stop by today whose professor had tasked him with going around the trade show floor doing a in-depth report about 5 different sustainable products, one of which he selected was ours. Like I said, pretty steady mix, definitely an increase in young students, which is great because we could definitely use some young blood in the industry.
The space that you have there, what are you focused on telling the attendees about?
We are focused on telling them, first of all, from a product perspective about our alternative products, so those that are either made from thermoplastic polyurethane or biopolyurethane. Those are under our Technoflor and Aspecta brands, which is under the HMTX commercial. That's our go-to market for the commercial marketplace, which is typically what you'll find at GreenBuild. There are some that spec things like multifamily, residential, but primarily commercial. So we're telling about those products, their sustainable attributes, all of the certifications that come with them, whether it's Clarke labels, health product declarations, environmental product declarations, Forest Source certification, and of course, Assure certified. From a company perspective, we're telling them about some of the important work that we're doing in terms of our impact reporting, as well as the fact that we are the only flooring company in the world with a Just label. All of the work that we've done with that, especially here in the United States, from our work in the Just label, we have introduced several new programs in the last few years that have not only benefited our employees, but our communities as well. So kind of a dual approach to both sustainable products and our sustainable company.
For years, Rochelle has tied in a Women in Sustainability dinner that was centered around GreenBuild. Did she do that this year?
The Women in Sustainability Leadership Alumni Dinner, which used to be part of GreenBuild, is now part of GreenBiz. So that'll take place in February as usual. But yes, Rochelle will be leading that effort.
Okay. Now this show's over tomorrow, right?
That's correct. Yes. The show is over tomorrow. The trade show ran yesterday and today. Educational sessions in the form of summits began on Tuesday. Tomorrow we actually have our own Katie Cooper, who's a sustainability specialist for HMTX, presenting on a multi-person panel. They'll be covering the Just label, what it means for social equity in the industry. Of course, be in attendance of that. And this is actually her first opportunity at GreenBuild, so they're excited for what it means for her and for the company.
Was there any updates on the next version of LEED at this? Was there any discussion about that you heard?
There's been quite a few discussions on LEED. I wasn't able to attend any of the educational sessions themselves just because of all the traffic to the booth, which was a pretty good problem to have. There has been quite a few talks, even on the show floor, about LEED v5. One of the things that we're most excited about, of course, is just all the changes that are coming in terms of material transparency and optimization. I would like to see, and this is a conversation that many in the industry are having, is more of a interest in social equity. While there are some positive changes to that in LEED v5, I believe there still needs to be a little bit of work done there. But overall, LEED v5 is moving in the right direction. And from what I've seen, it's definitely accelerating the change we need when it comes to sustainability and transparency.
Okay, Art. Well, I appreciate you giving our listeners a rundown on what's going on at GreenBuild this week in Philadelphia. Again, been talking to Art Clarke, the Director of Sustainability with HMTX, and you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.